Hello there, my name is Brent, and right now we are in the abandoned mining town of Cerro Gordo. And this town's been my home for almost 4 years now. And every day I'm figuring out something, whether that's getting supplies up to the town, dealing with no running water, documenting the abandoned mines, rebuilding buildings, dealing with natural disasters, and it's everything that goes into breathing life into a dead town. And this past year, 2023, we made huge steps towards the goal of bringing this place back to life. So in this video, let's get into everything that happened up here over the past year. All right, so as you can see, it seems to have cleared up a little bit all day. So what I'm gonna try to do is go sledding. If you look right out there, I cut a 55-gallon drum in half, and on the back side of the property, there's a road that just goes and goes and goes. I wanna see how far I can sled down there. Oh. All right, so today's an exciting day. Today is something that we have been looking forward to for a very, very long time. That is the next step of the hotel process. You know, it has been a battle to get the concrete done. We have gone through many trips from down in here in Keeler using that military truck up the hill to get the basement done. I think in total we ended up pouring, I don't know, even close to 200 yards of concrete, thousands of block. So any time now, we should be getting the first delivery of wood, which is big. You know, I think the basement has been by far the hardest part of this whole process. And so I'm hoping that now that we're onto the framing, things go a little smoother. All right, we have our wood coming. What you're seeing is the first of the new American hotel. Off to the hill. You know, Kyle has been on time, ahead of the game, just planning all the time, and it just feels relieving to have somebody to kind of pass the ball to. I feel like on every other step of the project, I still am so involved, whether it's mixing the concrete by hand or laying some of the blocks by hand or bending rebar. But at this point, Kyle is kind of taken away and he's putting up all the wood.
So what you see right now is we have a post and beam system that breaks up the basement floor in different sections.
Yep.
And so the first floor system here is pretty much repetitive all the way across. So we're just doing it section by section.
Yep.
Run our rim joist around that, post and beam, and then fill it in with these TJI joists here.
Yeah.
We do have a couple sections in here where we do change up a little bit. We have a cripple wall system that builds off of these short stem walls down here in the basement.
Yep.
But it's pretty much the same.
Okay.
It's just, it will be a wall instead of a post and beam.
Cool.
For the joists to land on.
Hell yeah.
What do you think so far?
I think it's awesome.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is it nice to see wood?
Finally, you know, 'cause for the longest time we've been dealing with concrete.
2 years of ugly gray concrete
yeah.
block.
Now it actually looks like a building.
Site.
Yeah. So what is this called when you put the plate on top like that?
It used to be called mud sill.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what my dad told me.
Yeah. So all these are the anchor bolts from coming out of the concrete, and that's what ties kind of the whole building together.
Ties the building too.
Cool. On this day, I only had a 1 hour time limit. So, you know, as I was sprinting around, kind of glancing at all these things, I started noticing more minerals that maybe I hadn't seen before. We have a huge pocket of green, stone, copper, you know, potentially malachite, maybe chrysocolla, definitely a copper ore of some type. Wow, here, this might be the most
valuable rock find that I found in a long time. This, I believe, is a giant piece of smithsonite. There's two different types of smithsonite. There's one that they call turkey fat, that's white and crystalline, and then there's one that's blue. My friend Tim, that's up top, loves smithsonite. That's something that, sometimes it just takes a while to get an idea of where it is. For now, let's try to sneak through this a little bit more, see if we can't see where they were talking about this 550 connection.
Towards the end of it, I saw all of these signs pointing to what said the 550 level. Now, the Union Mine itself is a vertical shaft. Now, in between all of these levels, they would have created winzes and little kind of like chute and ladder mazes to get in between the two, not having to use this Union Mine main shaft. Suddenly, maybe you have miles more of mine to explore. So anytime I see a little marking, a little exit sign, I get excited.
Oh, it keeps going. Oh, there's a ladder there. Oh, we're going down further and further. And I do have a time limit that I told Tim I'd be back up at the top, but that looks just too interesting to give up. You never know what you're gonna get. Heraclitus said that you never step in the same river twice. You never explore the same mine twice, even though I've been down here so many times. We have a huge pocket of smithsonite over here. We have a pocket of galena below me, and we have a connection to 550 to an area that I've never been at before. Safely made it up that. Now, back to the hoist.
Hello.
Hello.
The Omega Tunnel is a huge key to Cerro Gordo's history of the mining here. The Omega Tunnel was once a portal that led directly into the Union Mine that connected into the 200 level. And I gotta say, it is extremely dangerous back in there. The mine is actively collapsing. You can see around me, rocks are falling. It's not a safe place to be. But Jason, being a hard rock miner, I felt there was no better person to go back in there with. So, after exploring the mine a little bit, we grabbed our shovels, we grabbed our hard hats, and we went in to what we hoped would be a breakthrough of a lifetime. Jason, what are we trying to do?
Oh, we're trying to get into the Omega Tunnel, and there's a lot of snow in front of it.
All right, I'm in. It's just like a slide.
That's awesome.
Look my back.
Oh, it went on my back.
Yeah, it went down everything.
Oh, snow everywhere.
And this was our baby, so to speak. This is what we thought we could get into. But if you climb up there and you look in just behind that boulder, it looks like it opens up.
Huh.
So we're here, you can still see it. So you see like the mold above where Jason's doing it?
Yeah.
See how it's moving?
Yeah.
So there's definitely air coming through there. Oh, now it is a little bit.
Yeah,
Now we got the top falling
right
in.
to the side, yeah.
Ah, and all of our progress. Oh no! Big rocks about to fall.
We can keep
I
shoveling.
think we could do it, but I think it would take like getting like all of this rock out.
Out of the way.
Yeah.
Well, let's see if we can get like this kind of out of the way so we can assess the next one. I'm up for shoveling.
All right, let's keep going.
Yeah, I got nothing else to do today.
There we go. So some big ones up there?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
But yeah, I think we are making progress.
oh.
Perfect timing.
Timing of that. So much.
Never mind.
Just looks like we have more of these big rocks. But now it's like, what if we just get rid of like 20 of these big rocks?
Right.
Yeah, but moving those 20 rocks could create 100 more rocks falling down.
Uh-huh.
I'll try to move this guy. Nope. Kind of like that. Yeah, just move the one a little bit. So Jason's back there, but basically we've been going at it for an hour or so, and we just had a big collapse. But the really intriguing thing about it is behind, while the rocks were collapsing this way towards us, we could hear rocks collapsing beyond the collapse, kind of down this old tunnel. It just sounded like rock rolling down an open void. So if we were to be able to get past this, which it seems to be not that big a collapse, there's definitely an opening. How long that opening is, we don't know, but you know, it seems like the saga of the Omega Tunnel continues. All right, so another huge thing that's been happening in this area over the past little bit has been happening right behind me. This is the former site of Owens Lake. So back in the 1800s, this lake was 110 square miles. So imagine a lake that's 4 times the size of Manhattan. Cerro Gordo would use this lake to ship their supplies across it. You know, at one point this was 70 feet deep, this dirt that you're seeing behind me. But thanks to Mr. William Mulholland and Fred Eaton, they decided that the water here in Owens Lake was better used 150 miles away in Los Angeles. And so they devised the plan of the Los Angeles Aqueduct. And so this lake's death became Los Angeles's future. It is the reason it was able to bloom into the metropolis that it is today. But the reason that I'm bringing it up right now is because recently, all of the snow that the Sierras got, all of the rain that we've been getting has forced DWP, the Department of Water and Power, to redirect some of the water back into the lake. Their aqueduct, their fake river that they created, overflowed. So they put billions and billions of gallons of water back into the lake, creating the most full lake that I have seen in my entire time at Cerro Gordo. And it's just been beautiful. And so for me, this feels like a historic event, you know, to get out there, see the lake the most full that it's ever been. So I got on my dirt bike, I drove out all over the lake that you see behind me, finding little isthmus that it didn't create before, peninsulas, islands, all these different really cool trails. I even got a chance to kayak the Owens Lake, which I don't know who has been able to do that in who knows when. We currently truck up our water. We will truck up the water for the hotel. But also all of this snowmelt and this rain leads me to believe that this is the year that we finally drill for a well. You know, I think if the town is going to become infinitely more sustainable, so in the coming months, I'm going to be exploring hydrogeologists. You know, who knows, I'll be getting into dowsing, whatever we need to do. But water is a huge focus for this year. So stay tuned for a lot more on water in the desert and how we're going to get that. Well, that's up really late, but I have to say, thank you so much for the silver plaque for my second channel, Ghost Town 2. And you know, anytime we get these plaques, the items are more interesting. The first one went in a time capsule that's underneath the hotel. The second one went to the 900-foot level of Cerro Gordo's Union Mine. This one is going somewhere very special. So let's get it unwrapped, and I'm gonna show you guys where this is going. Down in there.
We are finally to the point where the first floor of the American Hotel is rough framed, meaning you can finally stand on top of what will be the first floor of the hotel. And to me, one of the most important things in this hotel, one of the most grand pieces, is gonna be the bar. You know, the bar that was originally built in the 90s was so stunning, so beautiful. My plan was always to have that restored how it was, you know, to give that familiar feel for the people who had been in here since that bar was built. That is, until I got a call from my friend Ryan. My friend Ryan owns a bookstore and a vinyl record shop in Austin, Texas. These buildings were built in the 1800s, and inside one half of the building, he has a bar that was also from the 1800s. And this bar isn't just any bar from the 1800s. This bar is a Brunswick bar from the 1800s. But of course, with all things in life, there's a catch. And this catch is a 1,500-mile catch. This bar that we're discussing is sitting in Bass Strip, Texas. And so I not only need to get myself to Bass Strip, Texas, I then need to get said bar back to Cerro Gordo. You know, and on the way out, I thought I was pretty good at driving big trucks. You know, I drive the 5-ton around Cerro Gordo quite a bit. But I remember we tried to go to Chipotle, and trying to park this thing was just an absolute nightmare. But eventually we made it, and all was well. All right, so day 2 in Texas began pretty early, and we had a crew. You know, Braden brought out 3 of his friends, and our goal that day was to get this thing unaffixed from the brick wall behind it and load it into our Penske truck. You know, I wanted to hit the road. I was thinking that we were gonna go down there, hit the road, get back. You know, we had a certain number of days with this rental truck, so I was trying to waste no time.
Can these bear weight or no?
No, they're mostly just to keep it there as handles on the face of it. Just lean it out a little bit, not much. It's so hard because every once in a while,
Yeah.
you can do everything possible,
Yeah.
and then it's glued or something like that.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it, but
Right.
or there's already a crack and it's just brittle.
Right.
You know, we really lucked out where these mirrors actually weren't affixed to the wall behind them. They didn't have that black tar type stuff. Sometimes they stick the mirrors to the back wall. So after a little bit of careful finagling, we got the mirror down, which left the next move.
How do you think this is gonna go?
Perfectly, like everything, yeah. Obviously it'll go perfect.
Wherever I call,
It's the moment of truth. After this, we're home free
and you'll
almost.
pass it in, but you'll most.
So I remember all of us chipping in ideas, you know, Braden throwing around an idea, all of us kind of like debating, and we ended up getting to this point where I would go up on one ladder, put it on my shoulder, bring the bar down a little bit. We'd have a guy on the far end, or 2 guys, bringing down the other end of this log piece of wood, and somebody in the middle to support it, you know, because we couldn't have it bend in the middle and break. And I gotta say, leading up to that, that was probably my most nerve-wracking moment. I was thinking, this is going to be difficult, this is going to be hard, but we did it. You know, to be honest, it went a lot smoother than I thought it would. We got it down, we got into the truck, we got it loaded, and I thought I was rocking and rolling. You know, I thought we were gonna get out of Bass Strip before the sun set. And it turns out, of all things, the back bar was the most difficult of all the things to remove. You know, I thought this was different cabinets that were just kind of stuck next to each other, and we could pick up the individual cabinets, throw them in the truck, be on our way. No, once upon a time or somewhere along the way, it seems that they had affixed all these cabinets together. So imagine a 20-foot long cabinet with drawers in it that is very heavy, that cannot be bent because the top of these cabinets is a solid piece of wood, so you don't want that bending and breaking. So, after much debate, that required a trip over to the Tractor Supply. I got a number of furniture dollies, I got a number of ratchet straps, and after some moving around, we got the bar up on its top onto the furniture dollies, ratcheted down, so we essentially had a 20-foot long centipede of a cabinet to get into the Penske truck.
Don't let it flex in the middle too much. Lift up on that side, Giovanni.
And just as the sun was kind of setting, we loaded it in the rest of the stuff, and we were set. All right, so everything is inside of the truck finally. It was a hell of a day. It went, you know, a little longer than expected, but very smoothly. Everything's still one piece. Everything is still put back together, which is very exciting. Now we just gotta get it back there, and once it's there, unloaded and figure out how to get up the hill. But step 1, 2, or 3, I'm not sure what step we're on now, complete, and we're gonna get going tomorrow morning. Then our final step was two things. One, where are we gonna put this bar? And two, how are we gonna get it out? You know, it made it this far safe. How do we get it out safe? After a little bit of debate, we decided that the church was probably the best place to store this thing. You know, we wanted somewhere out of the elements. It wasn't quite ready to put it into the hotel yet. You know, we're not at that phase, but we needed it somewhere out of the elements, but maybe still accessible, still somewhat close to the hotel. You know, we laid out some plywood so we could move our giant centipede of a kind of cabinet around, and we got it down. Bar is unloaded. Bar's in here. Bar's not in the hotel. It's a different video. I just want to take a moment and give a huge shout out to Element as well. It is a basic electrolyte mix that's just sodium, potassium, magnesium. There's no added sugars, none of that type of stuff. You just throw it in a bottle of water, shake it up, and you're pretty much good to go for the day. You know, when I first moved up here, I used to get these crazy dehydration headaches, muscle cramps, fatigue, all this type of stuff. Living in the high desert was new to me. And ever since I started throwing these in a water bottle once a day, those are pretty much gone. You know, this company is amazing. They've been a huge supporter of the town. A lot of the projects you saw in this video are possible because of Element. So if you just go to drinkelement.com/Brent, so drinklmnt.com/Brent, they're giving anybody watching an 8 sample pack for free with any purchase. This stuff is great. It's really changed the game for me. I'm a huge fan of it. I think you guys will like it too. Check it out, drinklmnt.com/Brent.
So they put the slag in the ore cars and bring it up the bucket. And then my brother and I were to get rid of it. So we thought we were big shots.
Yeah.
Oh, hell, we had it made.
Gan Ray Kendrick, previously Gan Ray Adams, actually spent time here in the late 1940s and the early 1950s. And this is a period of time that's almost never covered in the history books about Cerro Gordo. And so to talk to somebody from that period of time is amazing.
My name now is Gan Ray Kendrick, and my father came here in 1947. He mostly silver, but there was a byproduct of gold. It was so much fun as children coming up here and helping. Dad lived in the big house, and then Mother taught school here in Lone Pine, and Dad ran the mine. And then he brought people in, miners he knew. They followed him. Some came from Arizona. He had a hoistman named Smitty who was fantastic, and the hoistman was one of the most important people because you had to trust who took you down underground. Smitty was fabulous because he was a card shark, and he'd sit there. You had to trust him, and he sat there and he played cards, and he was real fast. But Smitty had a reputation. He was thrown out of Reno, he was thrown out of Carson City, thrown out of Vegas, because, man, he played cards bad. But you loved him to death. He was wonderful. The men underground were hard, good working men. We had a cook here, got drunker than a skunk, walked off the hill. So Dad called me and he said, "Jeannie, you think you can cook?" And I was 16, thought, oh boy, I could do anything. Well, I came, and this was the building. This is called the cookhouse. So I came up here and I said, I thought I could cook. Well, I could cook, but I forgot about the elevation, and you cannot boil potatoes up here. You have to put them in a pressure cooker or fry them. But they didn't say a word. I just told them the potatoes didn't cook, big tears in my eyes. They were awful sweet. Dad tried to keep us busy because, you know, young kids, what are we going to do? So the real ore, the miners took care of the real ore because that's where the pay dirt was, the real ore. But the slag, down underground in the mine, you cannot have a bunch of junk in the mine. So they would take care of the real ore. But the slag, which is crap, they bring up above ground, and they would bring it out and let David and I dump it. And we thought we were big shots because we got to bring that slag out and dump it on the side hill, and that's what this side hill stuff is. And we dumped that slag. We thought we were so smart, and you just pulled a lever and it dumped the ore out. And we had so much fun. We worked so hard on that. And then when we weren't doing that, we were like little billy goats, and we climb all over these mountains and have so much fun. It was good. So this is a wonderful place, and I'm glad you folks are doing something with it. Listen, I used to be a billy goat. I ran all over these mountains, but look at me now. I'm stumbling and just
You're doing great.
Okay, sweetheart.
I'm very grateful that we were able to have the conversation when we did, because tragically Gan Ray has passed away since that conversation. You know, I'm very grateful to Cindy, her daughter, and her whole family for coming up here to Cerro Gordo when they did, and allowing not just myself, but everybody watching and beyond to learn from Gan Ray, to get a glimpse into a Cerro Gordo that very few knew. I feel very grateful for that. You know, the first time I ever heard the phrase walk the wash was from a guy named Tip Shields. And Tip was a mentor of mine up here. He told me, if you ever need an adventure, just walk the wash. You know, the wash informs so much of what's around you. As you're going down there, there's tins, there's cans, there's anything from campsites that are above, over time are gonna get pushed down into the wash. If you look closely at those items, it'll inform you the last time humans were up there mining, humans were up there looking around. Whatever they were doing somehow ends up in the wash. You know, even a week or two ago, this was filled with snow. So all of this stuff, whether it be from the mines up there, wherever, could have been washed down into this wash. Got a couple old shoes. I don't know if anybody else out there can tell me that. Were all of the shoes green, or is that a result of the brown over time in the sun? I don't know. But somebody out there must. So do let me know below as we continue down and the questions remain. You know, everything tells a story to me. It's like this, for instance. Let's look. So look at this. This says highest gas yield. This is Union Carbide. So right there, Union Carbide. So this is what the miners would have put inside their carbide headlamps to look back in the mine. So you have to think, back in the day, they were in these mines with literally burning gas on their head that maybe showed them, you know, this far in front of them. These days I have lights, and so when I go into the mines, it's probably the brightest that mine's ever been. Hopefully they found some good ore while they were using that. This time, the snow had melted and there was way more shrubs than I've ever seen in this wash ever. This, I don't know if you guys know what this is. This is ephedra. So this is actually, they call it Mormon tea, a bunch of other things. So this you can put in some water, leave it out in the sun, and it's got a mild stimulating effect. So that is an interesting plant. If you didn't know that, now you do. Desert flowers. That is one thing that is definitely out since all these rains. We haven't gotten what they call like a super bloom, which I think needs like a couple conditions to get. But it would be super cool to see this whole hillside covered with flowers. It's happening in some areas of Death Valley, but you know, maybe now that the snow's melted, the seeds are germinating and we'll get it. It's a beautiful hike, especially with the Owens River or lake like it is. We're not seeing tons of artifacts so far, but you know, it's had 150 years to push stuff down, so we'll just keep hiking. Thank you so much for coming to the first annual Soro Gordo Silver Run. Give it up for yourselves, you know, this is a pretty exciting time. You guys are among the freak and demented that want to participate this first year, which is amazing. If it ever gets too tough, remember back in the day that everything up there was brought up on mules and men, and so, you know, if they could do it back then, maybe we can do it now. Thank you all so much for being here. I'm gonna get a shotgun. We're gonna shoot a shotgun to begin this thing, you know, true Western class style. Towards the end, Ryan just smoked everybody. You know, Ryan Lecker was the winner of the inaugural Cerro Gordo Silver Run at a time of 1 hour, 46 minutes, and 48 seconds. He took the lead from the jump and he kind of never let it go.
Yeah!
65.
All right.
Woo! First half was pretty chill. Once you start getting to those miles that have like 800 plus feet of climbing, you know, that kind of sucks because you get like this little fake, little bit of a downhill right there, like 5 point whatever miles, and then it's like middle finger.
Didn't think I was gonna get second. God is good. Shout out to my Lord and Savior. There we go. There we go. Nice kick. Good job. Dude, that was you. This is your champion right here. This is a real runner.
I beat the Olympian.
Yeah, you kicked my butt. Well done, dude.
All right, guys, that is it. That is the first annual Cerro Gordo Silver Run. Congratulations to everybody that participated. That is history in the making. We hope to do that every single year. Our goal was to bring life back to this place. You know, that was kind of our hope. And today, the town feels very much alive with everybody here. And so I want to thank everybody for being here, whether you're participating. Let's go, Right now, I am sitting at the cemetery here at Cerro Gordo. I've heard estimates anywhere from 50 to 500 miners are buried in this cemetery. And it's always been a missing puzzle piece in the history here. Tomorrow, my friend Paul is bringing up his human remains detection dog, Bosco, and we're gonna try to determine exactly how many people are in the cemetery and exactly where the borders are. You know, our main target today was 3. First was to go up to the cemetery. Next, I wanted to go back into Newtown and potentially see if there was a separate cemetery for some of the Chinese miners here. And third, we just kind of wanted to look around, see what else was out there.
And so we'll probably make 4 or 5 runs going straight down, maybe, 5-10 meters apart. And then we'll know where the boundary, at least the top boundary is of the cemetery.
From there, we kind of just decided that our main goal of the cemetery was going to be defining kind of the outer borders of it. You know, when Bosco stopped signaling, meaning there was a dead area, we know that was kind of the borderline of it. And I think that in the future, there's more technology like ground penetrating radar that we can do to get exact locations of graves in a mass grave like that. But we were able to kind of loosely define the perimeter of what the cemetery would be.
Okay, so it's draining down this thing too.
Right.
So I'm kind of thinking that there's something up there in those trees.
You know, just above the 1870 head marker, it seems about 10 feet above that, the cemetery pretty much stops, or at least the hits for Bosco are stopping. So we can assume that above that, not too many people are buried. You know, to the left, if you're looking at the cemetery, there's a pinyon tree that seemingly marks kind of the left border. And to the right, they trenched in a power line, not too long ago. And it seems like that's kind of the right border of the cemetery area. And so Bosco, Paul, and I just walked around for a while, searching out, seeing if anything triggered. And there was 3 places. And the first of which is very interesting. The first place that Bosco triggered was immediately next to what I call the writer's cabin.
Wow.
Oh boy.
Wow.
So yeah, it's a good training aid. If you have a place where there's, someone's deceased or something.
Right.
And he's been there for decades. The rocks are going to be, boom, with a dog really easily.
Right.
The second place that we came to is there was a flat spot next to the road that when Paul looked at it, he said, that just doesn't look like it should be flat in the way that it was. And so we went over there with Bosco, and on the course of potentially a 30-foot flat spot, he signaled 3 times to indicate that there's 3 separate burials all along what is now a road. As you guys may know, on the backside of the property, there's a famous mine called the Lower Newtown Mine. And right by the mine itself, no triggers, nothing, Bosco wasn't going crazy. But kind of off to the side of the mine, down in a flat area, next to 2 very conspicuous pinyon pines, Bosco triggered directly in between those 2 pines. And so an idea that I come to after finding 2 burial sites next to the 2 mines on the backside is that on the backside, maybe in its heyday, when the people were to die inside of those mines in a mining accident, whether it was like a fall, a dynamite, a collapse, or this and that, they would just bury them pretty much on the closest flat spot that they had. But it makes me think, if they were just burying people here and there, then they could potentially be burying people everywhere throughout these hills. I think this is obviously a morbid and kind of sensitive topic to kind of dive into as far as the history of Cerro Gordo goes, but I think it's an important one, and I think it's one that we're just going to continue growing over the next few months. That's going to be informative one way or the other. All right, so my initial mission in this adventure was to rope down 900 feet. That is the entirety of the Union Mine. And the Union Mine is by far the biggest mine here at Cerro Gordo. And off of that 900 feet branches close to 30 miles of mines that just honeycomb everywhere underneath this town. The people that are able to operate the hoist have dwindled. Some of my friends have moved farther away, some have changed locations, and at this point I don't really have a crew that consistently send me down into the mine. Looking at the maps and researching it more, it would seem that one of these levels, maybe the first level off of the 900 foot level, would be at an 1130 level, which would indicate a drop of 230 feet. Nobody alive has been into them, and it's just this mystery that is just too good to give up. You know, it's just enough to prompt me to order 950 feet of rope and to think about ways to get to these levels.
Backpack's already stuck on a nail.
And so I started down, and I would say very quickly I realized the claustrophobia that would haunt me a little bit later on.
Woo! Oh, that's terrifying. Yeah, I'm just past the tight spot. There's one more about 10 minutes away, so I might radio once I get past that.
Yeah.
All right, that's fucked up. I'm probably about 500 feet down, and I'm onto the last green rope. It's hard going right now because the rope weight below me is still a lot. My head mount GoPro ran out of batteries, so I'm hoping that this descent goes smoothly with this thing. It's a lot of pressure on this descender right now, but as you can see, still a lot to go, but we've come a long ways.
You know, at first I was using the ladder a decent amount, and then I realized the ladder was just kind of slowing me down. Then I kind of got to like descending pretty good. Then I felt like excited. And so I found myself just getting a little bit more loose with how fast I was descending, you know?
All right, folks, I've made it to the bottom. 900 feet down on rope.
I've been in the 900 before. Yes, we're gonna look around, we're gonna see some things, but really what we're after is new history. And that new history would be 2 new levels, an 1130 and a 1250 level below the 900. Nobody, since this mine is shut down, has been down to these lower levels. They're just an anomaly. There's lots of lore around them. There's few facts, but that's what we're down here for. That's what we just spent 3 hours getting down this rope to do. So let me drink a little water, collect myself. Let's go find some new history.
It's the 4-way intersection, exactly as described. So through this, we should have to go 290 feet more that way before getting to another 3-way intersection. But you can see this moisture is here. So there's the potential that we need to go 290 feet this way. Or at least just collapse. So I said I can't go over this collapse. Oh, maybe I cannot go over this collapse. And this type of dirt, I wonder, I see a little hole. I am going to peek up there, but at this point we need another probably 190 feet, probably almost 200 feet more before we would get to the intersection that would lead us to the lower levels. Let's scoot up here. It's so slippery. Can't even get grip to get up there. The problem right now is I'm just slipping and sliding on this, but a lot of times with these collapses, they're only 10 feet, so you can get up and over them and continue on. So we're gonna keep trying that. But again, I probably have 200 feet to go before I get to this intersection that would have led to the winds to the lower levels. So if it's 200 feet of this clay, not gonna be very possible. This is gonna take a lot of digging. You know, we need 200 more feet to get through, but this could be 10 feet. This collapse could be 200 feet. And we know we need to go 200 feet to get to where the cage was down. I just think if it was descending 230 feet down, there could be tons of machinery over there. I mean, just stuff that no one even knew about, and just history. Obviously that was disappointing. You know, I was hoping that it was going to be a few blasts, I was going to pass, I was going to find a whole new hoist system. Maybe I was going to find where mules had once stayed down in the 900-foot level, and the wet rock was like a wet towel on my adventure. I was able to get down here with rope only, which was very, very, very cool. You know, I've been afraid of heights pretty much my whole life, so to be dangling with a 900 foot of exposure below you is something that I'm just proud that I made it down here. 2, it seems that the way that the hoists were to go to these lower levels has about 170 feet behind the collapse. This needs to be dug out by shovels. I think I can send some shovels down by some string, potentially. But I think the main thing that's accomplished in this route was just the fact that it can be done, that I can get down here by rope. That's huge. That is gonna open up so many opportunities long term. Now this Warm Springs I had heard about for years, I've never been to. It's about 50 miles from any paved road. The road to get there is very difficult, it's very taxing on vehicles, but I'd heard it's just this oasis in the desert. All right, we are out here in Saline Valley. We are headed to the Warm Springs. Springs is a few miles that way, you can see the trees. It's 112 degrees out here, so it's hot. This is some classic desert art for you. So, we set off, we made our way there, and it's just stunning. There is beautiful green grass just surrounded by moon surfaces, what it looks like, just unvegetated desert, and then suddenly you just have this pocket of beautiful trees, of water, and of grass. And apparently the story there is that there's 3 thermal springs that are naturally occurring that are feeding these pools. In the 50s, you know, much people went out there, started to develop it more for recreation. So they put in some concrete pools that are fed by the springs. They planted some palm trees, they planted grass, they brought fish out there. All of these things just to make it this Shangri-La of sorts. And so these days, they aren't allowed to plant any more palm trees out there, and the ones that do remain are gonna live there till they die. But it has a couple caretakers. And I gotta say, being out there, the people there are just amazingly kind. They are full of information, and they just have that same passion that I find so often in the desert with people that care about spaces.
What's up, buddy?
What you doing, dude?
A big update in the last month or so is this, the American Hotel, which is finally starting to look a little bit like a hotel. I mean, earlier this year we had a half-built wall that needed to be filled with concrete, and I thought we were gonna be at that forever, but now, if we head on in, you can see the American Hotel. That will be the poker room, where we'll have some poker tables. The bar that we got from Austin, the Brunswick bar, is gonna go along this wall over here. There'll be a large deck out here for everybody to sit at with an amazing view, if I do say so myself. Over here, step up here, this is the beginning of the 2nd floor. So the decking is down for the 2nd floor. This will be the rooms, all of which will have beautiful views of Owens Valley, hopefully Owens Lake. But it's been quite the journey to get here. You know, I look around and I see the tank, and I remember all that had to go into doing that. The concrete below me, all that had to go into bringing up the blocks, mixing the concrete with Dave Sparks. And we're not even close to being done yet. But I think that already, you know, these walls could tell thousands of stories, and I am just stoked. I just have to say, thank you so much to everybody watching this video. You know, you guys are the reasons that this thing is coming back to life. I hope that many of you can come up here one day, enjoy a meal here in the hotel, look out there, enjoy the view, and stay tuned because we do have to get all of this enclosed by the winter. So we're still very much under the gun, but it is starting to look like a building, and let's hope that we can get the rest of what we need done so that way this thing is safe come winter time.
So just over a week ago, a Category 4 hurricane formed in the Pacific down by Mexico. And the trajectory of it had it landing right by San Diego, which is super rare. You know, California just doesn't get hurricanes. I think the last time a tropical storm even hit the state was 84 years ago.
All right, so we got a pretty good lay of the land. It's pretty messed up. There's not getting past in a normal truck. There's not getting past with any supplies for the hotel. There's not getting down for any vehicles that don't have a very narrow base. Okay, didn't quite make it to the narrows. This part was passable with a truck and stuff, but with the backhoe it's just gonna be a little bit too steep to kind of come up with this final grade here. It's a little top heavy, so it's gonna wanna go back. Luckily, this is a weird area where some fill was left over here, so I need to move all of this essentially over here, hopefully make this smooth enough to get up, because we're not quite to where I wanna get yet with the backhoe, but as you can tell, I don't know if it shows on camera, but it's quite steep here, and if the backhoe goes like this, it would just flip over backwards. All right, we're getting there. Making our way most of the way up the narrows. Then we have to see what's going on elsewhere. It's just such a windy day, and this backhoe that they rented us is just open cabs, just dust everywhere. But we're making the road passable again to Cerro Gordo, and that is an important day. So pretty quickly we developed a pretty good system. You know, the main battle in repairing this road is just finding the fill, you know, finding the stuff to go on top of the bedrock. And so Daniel would drive the dump truck down there. I would take the backhoe, take a couple scoops, put 3 or 4 scoops into the dump truck. We would then back the dump truck up this kind of precarious road, dump, be able to have about 2 or 3 new feet of road on the narrows, go back down, fill it up again, repeat the process, repeat the process, repeat the process, repeat the process. And I gotta say, it went really well. You know, I think having Daniel there, having Hans and Christy to guide the vehicles, to pat down the dirt that we put up there, just made the whole process go that much more smoothly. In very positive news, you will see that the backhoe is now past the narrows. So it's passable with the backhoe. Still need to put in some dirt to make it passable by vehicles, but we are getting there. You can see it's getting later in the day, but huge development getting this bad boy past there. Now I can take dirt from above it, keep dumping. We are moving and grooving, and we'll be done soon. All right, we are moving and grooving. We're halfway up the road, more than halfway, I would say. And we are to the next not so good part. This is down to pretty much rock. I think the guys up top have done some work through in some rocks in some of the holes. The good thing about this is there's a lot of fill right over there, so we don't have to go too far. You can see that kind of cliff it's taken out. That part up there, we call kind of the second narrows, is always very problematic. So I think that's gonna need a lot of work. Just saw the Edison chopper trying to look at the power lines. We might get power back today. We might get access to the town back today, which would all be a very cool thing. So fingers crossed. Home stretch now. Town just up there. As I turned that corner towards town, I just felt gratitude. You know, I think that's a very weird feeling to feel at the end of 3 very hard days of work. But I just became very aware of the people behind me that had helped, you know, the people that in front of me that had helped, and just the fact that we had gotten through another difficult situation. How does it feel?
Awesome. Never been happier to be be up here.
We did it. Wait. We made it.
Hell yeah.
Welcome back.
Yes, sir. As the sun goes down on what was the third or fourth day, the dump truck and the backhoe are in town. It's possible for the guys now to leave town, which I think they're very excited about. Truck is here. It made it up the backside. And now we need to get going on that. But before we can get going on that, the road is still going to need a little bit of work. So we're going to need a lot to go right over the next little bit to make this happen. My friend Jason has a mine up in Washington, and so he invited me up to get the wood you see behind me, but also to go gold mining in his mine that he's recently opened up. And I ended up with this, 10 grams of pure gold, the process of which is not very easy, but one that I now just appreciate so much more after the time up there.
So we're gonna work back here today, but we did a blast along this wall a couple days ago. We've got a huge pile of muck. So after we're done picking and looking for gold, we're gonna do a little bit of muck and we're gonna work on getting some muck out to the truck. Okay, let's find some gold.
Let's find some gold.
Let's find some gold.
Find some gold.
Yeah, there's a little piece of gold there. A little piece of gold there. Little baby pieces. Well, that's a start. Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah, I can see that.
Oh, yeah, see?
Gold!
There it is, right there, sticking on the wall.
That's what we need.
So after we went mining and we chipped out some gold, it was time to muck. And mucking, in this case, is to take the loose rock, that's in front of the face that you're mining and to remove it. Maybe to refine it, maybe just to discard it. In this case, we were gonna refine it. And I knew that mucking was pretty low on the totem pole of mining jobs, and I can kind of understand why now. You basically hunch over, you fill up a bag full of rocks. Jason and Harry had constructed this cart that sits on old rails. You put the bag onto the cart, you push it over, you then send it down some chutes, and it takes just a very long time after you actually chip out the gold to get it out of the mine. It might seem really basic, but I think while doing that, everything started to click. The mine tracks that I see, the ore chutes, it's all in an attempt to get this relatively heavy material out the whole way. And so it's kind of fun to pack up the bag, put it onto the cart, push the cart over, throw an ore bag down an ore chute, all in the attempts just to get these rocks out of the mine. And finally we did. We took about, I think, 5 or 6 bags out of the mine. And from there we put them in Jason's truck and we took them back to Jason's shop to refine them.
And there you can see the gold in it.
Gold.
Very, very fine. So it's not a bunch of nuggets. It's very small gold. But when there's a bunch of it, it really adds up.
Yeah.
So now I've got to pan out the rest of that. I'll just keep this in the pan. I'll just shovel more in and we'll just fill it up with gold.
All right.
And then we can get it smelted into a bead for you. So I've got our gold sucked up in our snuffer bottle here. And I can just kind of leak it out into our blue towel here. And it acts kind of like a coffee filter. So there's some nice gold there. There's a lot of gold in there. And so this whole process is going to remove all the base metals. So any copper that's in there, any iron that's in there, bismuth, lead, all that is going to go away. There's our bismuth at the very bottom, right on top of our gold. So now I can take our rag. All our gold and goodies are down at the bottom here. That rag is evaporating and it will slowly, quickly burn off.
And in the end, after all of that, I ended up with this, a 10-gram bead of pure gold. I was talking to Jason a while back and he said, listen, you make your way up here. I have a property with some downed trees. We'll go to the property, retrieve the trees, bring them to my friend's sawmill, and you can create some beautiful rough cut lumber for Cerro Gordo. You take off any limbs that aren't long enough to be used for any type of good wood. You create essentially a log.
We've got everything limbed up and now we're gonna bucket into 33-foot logs. It'll be 32 usable feet, and that's divisible by 8-foot sections. So we'll have 4 8-foot log sections in one log. We're gonna buck them into log logs because they're easier to drag out. So we'll get my log tape, we'll measure out 33 feet, and you always leave that extra 1 foot called trim or snipe, because as you break it down into smaller log sections, you need that extra waste to get it into 8-foot sections, so you don't end up with a bunch of 7'10" logs. Yes.
Perfect.
I think that was the thumbnail.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was good.
You leave this part over here,
Okay.
and just the knob.
Oh, right there. Okay.
There we go.
Right. Okay.
Bingo. Got it.
Going anywhere. So this is it. This is the future music studio from within those woods to now out here on this. Next step is to mill this down. But this is the cedar you can see. The smell is beautiful. It is beautiful. A lot goes into making these boards.
So what we're gonna do, it's like a big table saw, but it has rollers on the top and a feed conveyor on the bottom. So we'll set up a fence to whatever size you need, 4, 6, 8, and then it'll run it through.
Yep.
And we can take off the live edge and it'll be a nice square straight cut. And then you can bump it over to the fence and rip a 6 or an 8 or whatever we're doing.
So this is the first quarter of the tree, but it's probably about a third of the wood. And we got 35 8-inch by 1-inch. It's gonna go on some of the walls. And then a couple 4 inches to boot. We're gonna go grab some more wood, keep going. You know, when Jason and Fred would get going on the rip saw, these boards were coming out of there as fast as you can imagine. And I was on the other end trying to stack them all in a unique pattern so we could keep track of how many boards were coming off. It was a lot of work, but it was also a lot of fun. We're at the end of day 1 at the mill. This is our lumber. There. As you can see, it's all very beautiful, very aromatic, and this will become the studio. And over here we have what was gonna be the waste pile, so all these we're gonna try to make into, you know, I don't know, benches, shelves, fun things. So if you have any ideas, let me know below. As much as it can fit in the truck is gonna go. And then tomorrow, back over here, back to the mill, back to making more, learning something new every day. Every log has its own pattern, you know, it has almost its own personality. It was very cool to look at the unique pattern. And again, just imagine that back here at Cerro Gordo in a studio of people looking around and enjoying for years to come. It was a really satisfying experience. So another thing I've been working on a lot this month is the mines, exploring the mines, but also bringing power and communications 900 feet down to the bottom of the cage here in the hoist house. And we're doing that because for the longest time, we thought the 900 level was pretty much as far as it went. But we recently found some documents that show that there's 5 levels below the 900 foot level here. You know, these are all behind collapses. And if we get past these collapses, we should be able to get to where there's an entrance to these lower levels. And so if we're gonna spend a lot of time down at the 900 foot level, I wanted to bring power and communications. And so a little bit ago, my friend Craig came, we ran power all the way down to the 900 foot level. And today we're gonna run internet all the way down to the 900 foot level of the Union Mine. Our internet comes into the hillside over there. It's redirected from Lone Pine to Keeler to that hillside. We're then gonna redirect that signal to the hoist house. It is then gonna get transformed back into Ethernet, then to coax. It's gonna go all the way down 900 feet, and we have Wi-Fi down at 900 foot level. That is the plan today. So we were headed 900 feet down. It's gonna be a historic exploration when we start doing that. We're gonna need some very capable people to be down there 900 feet, but I'm really excited about it. And Tim's going with me.
Hello.
All right, we're headed down. That to bring communication.
I want to go down now.
All right, you got it.
You do remember we want to stop every like 10, 15 feet.
Take care of the cats. All right, go. Stop.
Stop.
All right, so we're back down to the 900. The internet cable made it down.
When you order your element online, it comes in a box like this to your door.
Was that down here?
It was down here.
Drinkelement.com/Brent.
I do love element.
All right, so right away behind me, you see one of the biggest updates over the past month or so, both literally and metaphorically, is the American Hotel has a second floor and has the beginning of a roof.
We're framing our second floor, finally. We're back up here after the road got fixed, after the storm. We got our first kind of far outside wall. That's our staircase wall right there. And now this, the first of the main part of the second floor with all the guest rooms. It's about to, we got a few more things to do, and then we're gonna sheet it, get it stood.
Man, that's cool. So all at once?
All at once.
We get the drone.
73 feet.
I am fully aware that there's still a lot of work to do, but it's progress. And progress is always very exciting up here. And I think I've been very motivated by that and all the other progress going on all around the town,
Including right over there, where if you look, you will see the hunter's cabin, where we are soon to put a recording studio. So we will head over there next and get some updates from that. All right, now we're over to the Hunter Cabin, which was originally built in the 1870s by a guy named William Hunter, who owned a neighboring mine to Cerro Gordo. And this is the cabin that we are going to focus on turning into a recording studio. I just went to Washington about a month ago to get a lot of beautiful wood that we're gonna use inside of here. And so let's go inside, see what's going on, and then I'll show you the layout of the studio a little bit. What have you been up to in here, Olmo?
All right, well, I took everything down to the bones and, you know, tried to give pause to realize that a lot of the work was done in a time of being very cold with no materials. You know, I'm really excited to get a chance to work with lumber, so I'm working as fast as I can to get this insulated and sealed so that I can start using the beautiful cedar.
Yeah, absolutely. For everyone watching, this is going to kind of be the live room where there's going to be, you know, some equipment out here to record different instruments and stuff. This is a bedroom, but this will turn into almost the control room, where back in here, it's a little bit of a mess now, but there'll be a kind of a mixer here, and then downstairs will kind of be like an isolation room for the drum set. It's our storage at the moment, but I'll give you guys a quick look just so you see. Down here is where all the drumming will happen. So a lot of exciting things happening in the studio. A lot thanks to Olmo, so stay tuned, and we're gonna have a lot of updates in this cabin over the next couple weeks. All right, it's time for an update on the studio project. Going in, it looks way different than it did before. Much higher ceiling. You see some insulation is in. The opening for the control room is there, and it's just looking awesome. Can't wait to see the space continue to kind of grow and turn into what it could be. Got the rock wool, good stuff, and it's transforming. The update that I might be the most proud of this month is within this box. Because in here are printed versions of the book I wrote. This is an advanced uncorrected proof. You know, this is probably the thing that I worked the hardest on over the last 4 years. This goes over, you know, events over the last 3 years, my meditations, my thoughts towards the events, untold history about the town that I figured out and woven throughout it. I'm really proud of it, you know? Earlier this month, I was able to go down and spend some time with Ryan Holiday to get some final notes on it. But if you guys have pre-ordered this book already, that means the world to me. This is something I pour my heart and soul into, and pre-orders just mean a big deal in the book world. If you haven't done that yet, there are some special bonuses that I'm giving out. And if you look at the video description in this, those are outlined. But it means a lot, and it wouldn't be possible without you guys, so I just want to say thank you for that. It's an exciting update for me, and I think, as with most things here, I want to preserve this for future generations. And so I have this time capsule, which I'm then going to put one of these limited edition advanced uncorrected proofs into. And so let me know in the comments below where this should go on the property. But that was the fun update this month, so thank you guys so much. And if you haven't, do consider jumping on the bandwagon, buying this. It's available anywhere books are sold, and your support just means the world to me.
I think obviously history is why this town's important. Learning from the artifacts, the buildings, the museum I have here, the mines. But when I think about visitors coming, learning about that, and then doing other things, I try to think about, what I like to do the most. And the answer to that is pretty much all around me. If you look, we have some of the most stunning geography that I've ever been in my life. And I think the best place to take all this in is at Cerro Gordo Peak, which is just above the town at about 9,200 feet in elevation. And right now, the only way to get there is to take a car over on the south side of the town. You take a little 10-minute hike and boom, you're there. But the problem with that I have, is that you lose a view of Death Valley National Park during that. And it struck me that it would just be beautiful if there was a hike that would take you along a ridge where you could see some old historical buildings. It would twist and turn through some beautiful nature. You would see the town as well. That would just be one of the coolest hikes I could imagine. And so this month we set out to mark that hike and allow many of you to come and just get, in my opinion, the best hike anywhere around here. Staking out this Drew Trail was exciting. It was probably one of the most exciting things I've done in the last 6 months. It just felt truly like history in the making. We just kept editing and re-editing and moving markers and trying to get it to bring people to the best vantage points, as well as create a grade that would be comfortable for most visitors to hike up. And as we got towards the top, I will say that things got a little bit loose and quick. It is very steep towards the top of Cerro Gordo Peak. There's a lot of shale, you're slipping and sliding a lot, but we did it. I truly think that this is one of, if not the best trails in this area. It's something that I'm very proud of. It's something that I'm extremely excited to continue developing over the years, but it's cool. If you're a hiker, if you have any input, I'd love to hear it. I'd love to develop this into a great feature of the town for visitors to come in the future. If you want to help, love that too. I've watched it about 3 or 4 times now, and it's getting pretty good. So stay tuned for a lot more updates along the trail here. I think it's something that's gonna be really exciting. If you do come up to the town, look out for it. It's something new to do. But overall, there's a super exciting update this month, and one that I'm really excited to share with you guys. Next, we have the project above all projects, the project of the past 4 years, and that is rebuilding the American Hotel here at Cerro Gordo. As you can see, we got some walls going in. These are gonna be in between the rooms here. There's gonna be 6 rooms in this top floor. All of the rooms will have just postcard views. I mean, look at that. Imagine waking up to that every morning. As you may be able to tell if you look above me, there is no roof, which is probably my main stressor in the whole town right now, because if we were to get a few feet of snow, nobody's gonna be having a good time. And that's because the guys that are working on the framing have had a couple of transportation issues, some health issues. Things are better now, and so we're back rocking and rolling. After they get done putting up the sheeting, the roofer that's coming to put on the corrugated metal says it'll only take him about 3 days to throw all that up. So we're close. But once again, the hotel is an exercise in patience. There's only so much I can do. A lot of this work needs to be done by licensed contractors, and so it's a waiting game at the moment, but we're close. I'm hoping in a week or so, this roof is on, and the plan then would be continue working. By summer of next year, you would be able to come, stay in the hotel, and drink your morning coffee with that view. So fingers crossed, send us our best wishes that the thing gets enclosed here before the real snow hits. 2023 was a great year at Cerro Gordo. The town is as close to being back to life as it ever has been. We've hosted hundreds of volunteers, thousands of visitors, and millions of you guys have watched the progress in these videos. And along the way, there was new history uncovered, new buildings built, mines explored, roads repaired, and a whole lot more. And pursuing a big goal like bringing Cerro Gordo back to life just brings so much meaning into my life. And seeing the progress on that goal gives me the motivation to keep going. And that's a big reason I make these videos, because I think that progress, no matter how small, attracts more progress, and you just feel better about yourself and the project. And I find myself on those days when I don't want to do anything to just do something, no matter how small. You know, just nail one board, clean one porch. And if you can stack enough of those days together, powerful results are going to come. And so I think my big takeaway this year is just to get started. You know, no matter what you're pursuing, the progress is going to motivate you to make more progress, and the cycle is going to repeat itself. And so I hope you all have an amazing 2024, and that we all make small steps each day towards whatever our goal we have in mind. And thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.